Too soon.
Great work, Neil. Really good work on just absolutely owning my intro. Really. And the stream wasn't muted. This episode stinks already, man. We're 30 seconds in and it's completely ruined. I think it is Neil's fault. What's up, everyone, and welcome into the Backliners podcast. Aggro and BaRRaCCuDDa, as per usual, this week joined by the two-time, the back-to-back, the reigning MVP, the 2019-2020 Smite World Champion.
Wait,
It's
2018.
What?
Wait, 2019, 2021.
Well, yeah, technically, but it just makes more sense if you go back-to-back on years, even though they were played in 2021. Neil, do you have a preference? I mean, it's your title, so...
Go with mine.
I don't care.
There
All
it
I
is.
know, in my eyes, I've never won once. Until I three-peat, and then I've won 3 times.
And you're done?
Is
Neil,
that not good motivation?
no, not really.
Why
mean-
not?
I mean, I guess it is, but like... Alright, yeah, I guess I'm there. That's fine, I guess. This is gonna be... Look, it's not Sunday night, it's Monday night. Already, our vibes are different, Our vibes are different.
I'm feeling better than normal.
Really?
I'm feeling pretty... Can I disclaimer?
Yeah.
I have stitches in my move, so I
What?
can't really smile or laugh that hard.
Okay.
So my expressions are going to be very limited.
That seems like not a great time to do a podcast when you have stitches
No,
in
it's
your
fine.
move.
No, it's fine. It's fine, but I'm going to be very, very much so trying to suppress laughter. So don't make me laugh, first
Okay.
off.
All right.
Okay.
And second off, I will
BaRRa,
only
just
be
turn
doing
your
very
camera off
slight
now.
smiles. Very
Okay.
slight smile. What?
Well, it's just like better that way, right? Like
Yeah.
you're probably gonna laugh by looking at BaRRa if you had to guess.
So be it.
So now you're
How's
just gonna
my
get
hand
this.
look?
You're gonna get a great shoulder workout, BaRRa, if that's your game plan for the rest of this podcast is to hold up your hand to your camera.
I'm very strong. I've been working out lately.
Neil, what happened to your mouth?
I had a root canal a long time ago. Okay, this is kind of a funny story. We're gonna go on a segue.
Yeah, please.
Oh,
do.
you're gonna laugh at your story.
So I used to have I had to get a root canal when I was younger, like maybe even like a decade ago. I don't know, like at least 6 years ago, and essentially it failed or something, so I had to go and redo it. And when they basically just redid a root canal essentially, and they have to cut open your gums and stuff and blah blah blah. And after there's an infection in there because it's messed up, right? And then after, my endodontist talks to me as I'm on the way out the door, and he goes, "I'm surprised you survived this long with this infection." And I sit there, and I'm thinking, does he mean literally or figuratively? And he just walked away, said, "I'm gonna ask me." He just goes, "I'm surprised you've survived this long with that infection." And I was like, should I be dead? Should I have just been deceased right now, or?
Do you think that guy called his wife and he's like, "Man, I should have killed someone years ago," but
Well, different
I didn't.
endodontist, but I was just sitting there and I was like, that's interesting, and I guess I'll just never know. Because I'm not going to phone him and be like, "Hey, when you said survive, did you mean I should be dead?" Or...
Yeah, something like that. I'm starting to get the feeling that I shouldn't trust any dentist or anything like that, because my wife had a very bad experience with some root canal nonsense. I don't know, something along those lines. And I'm like, maybe they just aren't to be trusted at this point,
Don't hate the player, man.
I feel like I have to hate the player in this instance. Sorry about making you laugh, man. I apologize about that.
It's okay.
We'll keep it very serious on the podcast.
Yeah,
this
I'm
week.
sure that's going to go great for me.
Incredibly seriously as we break down the Season 8 map and what it means for each role. We're on to support. Historically, the second most broken role in Smite, and will continue to be the
You guys
most...
just both agree with that instantly.
What?
Yeah, it's obviously true. That's not even a debatable point, Neil.
Yeah.
I'm powerless.
Really? You think so?
Of course, we all are.
Okay. Neil, I talk to Neil a lot, dear podcast listener, and I can't help but get sucked into his game. Neil brings you down to his game really well, and that's exactly why he's won 2 world championships in a row. Anytime Neil says anything, I instantly have to hit him with the very Neilmah, "You think so?" Or, "Really?" And he's going to double down, and then I'm going to triple down, and we're not going to get anywhere on this whole episode. So That's just I'm just letting you know right now. That's how it's going to be. So I apologize.
I don't agree with that, but that's
neither do I, and that's fine. We've been talking more about global map stuff right away before we get into the role specific stuff. Neil, how have you felt so far, just broadly, about season 8?
I always think that new changes to the map are always good. Like a new map in general and just new items. It's just really refreshing, right? The map is obviously a lot bigger, so there's a lot of different... it definitely changes the pace of the game and how it's played. Obviously, I haven't practiced or anything, but playing ranked even, it feels really weird. Like, it feels more like you're in the wrong places at the wrong times in this season, because if you're not there, it's, like, really hard to mosey on over. Like, you're just not going to be there. Like, for instance, if there's a fight in solo and I'm camping a dual lane in ranked, it feels like there's just no way I'm going to be there. Whereas last season, maybe if you're, like, halfway in between the mid-duo jungle, you could get there. But now it just feels like you can be pretty well displaced. So it's been a really cool experience, but I do feel like it's a bit, like you do feel a bit lost at times for sure. It's
big. And like you said, it takes some time to get to where you need to be. But personally, I've still been having a lot of fun with it. It's been pretty cool. The other thing we've been talking about is global anti-heal changes. Do you think that those have been effective? Do you think that's the right direction? What do you think about those?
To me, it kind of feels like a Band-Aid solution. I'm not saying that necessarily means it's bad, but it kind of just feels like they're like, healing isn't really working the way we want it. Global anti-healing thing, just like slap it on there and see what happens. It's hard to say because like I haven't played enough coordinated games. Like lots of time in rank when people have healing, they just all in anyways and they die. It's not like they poke you in the back up and they heal and then they just play like complete dorks and just like it's so annoying. But I do feel like it's decent, but I think it's kind of weird that they also nerfed anti-heal items at the same time. I don't really like when two things kind of get like nerfed at the same time or like change at the same time and you don't have time to feel out one of the changes at a time. But I think it's overall pretty good for the game because I think it could be really oppressive just with the size of the map as well if healing was just as powerful as last season.
Yeah, I mean, as someone who won a world championship with a hell abuser last year, you kind of know.
Am I on trial?
I mean,
is that why I'm here?
you might be. How do you plead, Neil?
I plead the 5th.
Smart man, but you're Canadian, so that doesn't count for you. Get owned. Do you have the 5th in Canada? Is that a thing?
Why not? I don't know. Yeah, probably. Sure. I should have just said nothing, and then what would you have done?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I kind of would have gotten owned. Yeah, good point, Chad. And an Afro abuser. He abused hell and Afro all year long.
All year? Okay, Afro definitely not all year.
Not Afro all year, but BaRRa, you can't laugh. You abused Aphrodite last year as well. Though I don't know if someone got abused on Aphrodite on your team, it was Ven the first time we played it. Am I right, everyone?
Oh, you're right.
Hey!
That's a big got him moment.
Got him.
There was a day where we scrimmed PK and they would not stop picking Afro, and that was a terrible day because they would not win, and they just kept picking it.
But look where it got us.
You got lucky.
Perseverance is key. There was a day we picked a lot of stuff against you and we didn't win, but sometimes that's just how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
Neil, isn't it weird that we had Zap on as well, who also has gone back-to-back, of course, and BaRRa didn't have the cojones to say he got lucky, only to you. Don't you think that's kind of messed up?
I have more respect for Zap.
I think that's fun.
Holy God.
Respect is earned, you know.
Is
if I haven't
there
earned it, then that's on me.
A BaRRa feud that I was unaware of? Should I have cleared this guest with you?
No, I just have no respect for support players.
Oh,
you're gonna respect me when you're trying to back in front of me. That's for sure.
I retired.
Okay, all right. I'll take that's a W. That's the most respect.
Yeah,
not because of you.
Well, in some ways.
Bro, come on.
When you think about it.
I'll take credit for it either way.
Listen, that's how it's got to be. That's how it's got to be from time to time. Okay, BaRRa, look, I feel bad during these non-ADC episodes because I feel like you're just kind of there. We commented on this last week with Heroin.
I'm just here to roast Neil.
Okay, but you gotta. So it's kind of like a so he kind of is on trial actually. Not This wasn't planned, but we kind of did ambush him here, didn't we?
I was ready.
Clearly, I was not.
That's good for
Okay.
you, I guess.
Also, real quick.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've been playing a lot of rank this week.
Yeah,
And when supports go Sovereignty, Thebes,
Mhm.
Partward, with the support item, whatever, like the 120 prots,
Yeah.
you can't hurt anyone.
No,
Like,
not allowed.
you literally need like 70% pin to hurt like their teammates. And I'm pretty sure that made percent pin value go up like so much for other roles because of the OP support role.
Even for me, honestly, like whenever I'm playing ranked, I want to dive. I just have to. You have to get percent pen, because like flat pen doesn't do anything late game at all, to people around the sport at least.
Yeah. Here's the thing: is that I really don't feel like building percent pen most of the time. So maybe
What?
I just don't feel
Kind
like
of
it.
good.
Yeah, why not?
Here, okay. Look at it this way, bro. Look at it this way.
Okay.
I'm playing raw. Okay.
Uh-huh.
No, I'm not gonna heal abuse. I'm playing Merlin. Okay. I'm playing Merlin.
Okay.
And I'm about to hit a tank with my ability. If I have bought Soul Reaver and I see that little extra number come up, I'm like, damn, I'm doing damage. Like, my Soul Reaver's owning right here.
So you just love yellow damage.
Yes, I love
Yeah.
yellow damage. That's big for me.
So
I
you
love
build Soul Gem and Reaver, and then you're like, man, that 30 and 40 right there.
slamming.
Ooh.
Slamming.
Big
Add up.
numbers.
You're getting it. You're getting it. Look, everyone knows that I'm like number one, like yeller of you don't have enough pen in your build, and I hate when people do that. But I don't have enough pen in my builds right now. I'll be the first one to admit it. Why don't they just put pen on like
the rod?
Well, yeah, but I've got 10%. I'm building rod every game. You're telling me I need more?
10's a lot now that I think about it.
Right.
Big number.
That's like a fourth as much like pen that you could get just naturally.
Yeah, so I feel like I'm in a good
pretty
spot.
good.
Look, after I finish my starter item and all 6 items, and then I buy an elixir of speed, then I'll get like an obsidian shard.
3K pot too.
Right, 3K
10%.
pot adds percent
That's
pen.
big.
So that'll be after that. Yeah. So
Guys, we need to go to
eventually
40 or 50 minutes before we have pen online.
Just farm, guys. I'm gonna get there. It's not a problem. All right, let's talk about why support is OP yet again. Just like every other season before it, always has been, always will be, except for like what was it? Season like beginning of season 5? Supports were pretty useless.
You were a paperweight, man.
Yeah.
You still are.
Yeah, you were kind of useless then, and that was a good time. But it's been darkness ever since. Let's talk about your starter items, because that's kind of how we've been starting these off. Sentinels is the first one up on the list, and I feel like we could probably start there, or stop there, because it is just better. It's only 500 gold, 75 health, 7 of each prot, 7 MP5, and then being within assist range of a minion or jungle camp, death without dealing the killing blow awards 7 bonus gold, and also restores 12 health and 8 mana. You do have to be near an allied god in order to make that work. Sentinels is the best. I think everyone kind of is on the same page on that, but why is it better than the other options right now, Neil?
Well, the other one, like War Flag, is actually just kind of useless. Well, it's not useless, but you just fall so far behind. Like the fact that Sentinels has all that gold attached to it whenever you clear a wave. So there's 6 minions in a wave, and you get 7 extra gold per minion, and then they come every 30 seconds. So if you don't build it, you're instantly, after like a minute and a half, just like 100 gold down almost. So it's kind of ridiculous. And then the only other one that's even kind of comparable is Benevolence, I think it's called. But it gives you like 2 gold per 5, and it goes up barely per level. And it gives you a tiny bit of XP, but you give a lot of your experience. Is it just experience, or is it experience and gold to your character?
Gold and experience.
But like, so you're kind of putting yourself even further behind. And like hunters like don't do anything in early game anyways. When you go to mid, sure, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, well. And then you're sitting in that lane, you're jamming it down, you're getting ganked on cooldown. ADCs are either 20-0 or own 20, and that's how it's been. So I don't know, it just feels like every other starter you go, you fall way too far behind. War Flag is good for your ADC for snowballing lane, but again, you fall so far behind. And then the cost as well, right? It's just so cheap. You can start Boots 2 with it. It's just insane sustain. And then before even talking about the upgrade, like the upgrade's just the best one essentially too.
Yeah.
Sentinel's Embrace is just way too. I meant actually the boon. The boon is so good.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
the boon is not. I'm just kidding. Don't build boon. Don't do it. That thing's so bad.
Yeah, boon is 300 health, 45 of each protection, 20 MP5, and assisting an enemy target dying provides 15 bonus gold and restores 3% of your health and mana. Neil, hold on. I'm theory crafting already. The wheels are turning up here, my man. You get Sentinel's boon, and you get Mail of Renewal.
Okay.
And you're sitting there on the siege,
Mm-hmm.
and you are just healing. I mean, like you said, there's 6 minions in a wave. You're getting 18% of your health and mana every wave. Okay? That's good, right? And then, if you kill the tower or the phoenix or any god, you're going to get even more healing from Mail of Renewal.
Sure.
Where's the problem?
Well, the problem is, like, you got like a nice neighborhood on one end.
Uh-huh.
You know, it's fine. It's nice.
Right.
Got a good community. It's gated. And then you got Beverly Hills.
Wait, hold on. You triggered me right away. Down in Georgia, there are every apartment complex is gated, I feel
Yeah,
like.
it actually sucks.
And they sell it as a positive. And it's
it
just
sucks.
not. It's
just
not
so
a positive.
inconvenient. It's so inconvenient.
It's so annoying to deal with every day, and there is no benefit to the safety of your apartment complex.
None.
Literal zero.
Why literal zero? Why?
Because it's always broken. The gate is always open anyways. And here's what if I see someone who's stuck, can't get in the gate, their code isn't working, whoever they're calling isn't answering, I'm buzzing them in because I've been in their shoes. And I didn't want to deal with that then, you know? And I would want to get buzzed in if I were in that instance.
Even better for my analogy, you got gated community on one side, and then you got Beverly Hills, where Beverly Hills is you're just drinking from the fountain of youth. Mm-hmm. None of you or your boys can perish ever. It's just not possible. You're just keeping everyone alive until the end of time, and that's what it is.
Well, obviously, immortality would be bad, right? Can we all agree with that?
No.
I mean, we could go down this road if you really want to, but it's gonna take us off
track.
Guys,
it's a Monday. I'm in a mood, okay?
Dude, I don't think it's that bad.
Okay, well, it depends on the type of immortality.
Surely it's just terrible.
Like, if your body is going to, like... Google, can I help you?
Yeah, I was about to say, who is that?
What do you... Shut up!
Do you want to know if immortality is good or bad?
Hey, Google! Stop! What was that, dude? She was still going, man. That was so troll. What is going on here? Okay.
Oh, boy.
Obviously, it matters if your body is going to decompose or if, like, you're just going to be immortal and you're going to stay, like, 25 forever. It's different, I guess.
Yeah.
But even then, everyone you know would die, and then you'd be sad, and you'd have to make new friends, and you'd go through that same depression all over again. I don't know.
Well, you would eventually just become completely disinterested with all that stuff eventually, right?
And it
just wouldn't matter anymore because
you couldn't be released from the mortal plane.
Yeah, and then you just live forever, and then everything would be so boring, right?
Just go into the sun, I would just be warm, dude.
Yeah, you're immortal.
I would just be in agony. You'd still feel pain, right? You would just...
I don't know.
Tough to say. I would hope you wouldn't if you're immortal.
I think you would.
Immortal in the terms of, like, you can't, like, cut your limbs off or anything like that?
Like, you just can't die,
invincible?
period. Like, I kind of like the situation you don't, like, feel pain, and you can just, like, regenerate, but you just live forever.
Oh, I would pull some
then it's kind of
really
like,
wild
do you want to
stunts on
live
my
forever
friends.
is kind of the question, you know?
Seems like a lot of hassle to me, you know?
I mean, I'd be down. I feel like it'd be fun.
For, like, the first, like... I don't even know how many years. Like, I don't know, like 20,000 years maybe? I don't know.
20,000
That's a long time of fun.
Bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then the next trillion years aren't that fun.
If I thought I would have fun for 20,000 years, I would do it. But I don't think I would.
What about the next trillion years after that?
I think I would have fun for like 200, man.
And that's still not bad.
That's a lot more on the other end, is all I'm saying. If you're talking in the 20,000 range, then that's a lot more than... Okay, we got to get back to support talk.
I'm just thinking there's a lot more you can explore in, like, the grand scheme of things, you know?
That is true. And maybe they could find a way, maybe science could find a way to end my life.
Wow. It's getting dark. Alright, back to support.
Okay, yeah, sorry. Anyways.
Yeah, all I really want is for science to find a way to end my life.
Release me from this mortal shell.
So... Basically, the long story short, the boon is not a boon, and the Sentinel's embrace makes you immortal. and you need science to find a way to end you and your boys' life. Oh boy. So I mean, pick whatever one you want.
Right. I mean, I think we covered that. If
Who's
you don't
really
know
to
what
say
to buy
which one
now,
is better after
right.
this conversation?
If you don't know what to buy now, we can't help you. I mean, that's just the best analysis you'll have all of season 8. There's no point in me even being on a broadcast from here on out because I've peaked for sure. All right, let's talk. No, benevolence, BaRRA. Got to go in order.
Why are you going? No one even buys that.
But we're talking about what we could do if like X change gets made. You should start buying benevolence. You know what I mean?
First off, it's just bugs, so no one's going to buy it.
Okay, well, let's assume it works. Let's assume it's doing its job. I think the big thing here, Neil, for me, for benevolence, the 750 gold price tag is a lot in comparison to Sentinel's gift. I think Sentinel's is too low at 500. I think that like 600 at least for Sentinels, and bringing benevolence down to like 650 or something along those lines would make sense to me. But would that be enough, a change like that, in order to make you want to buy benevolence?
No way. I think Sentinels could be the most expensive and I'd still want it, to be honest. Like I said, you just make all the gold up instantly anyways. I think it's just kind of stupid. It's the cheapest by a large margin when it's already the best. Like, I've loaded it into a lot of ranked games, and obviously the first thing you want to do is test things, and every single time I think about testing things, I just look at the items, and I just go, like, what is there to test? This one's the cheapest, it's the best, it gives you the most flexibility. Like, you could start boots too with it, you can't do it with any of the other ones, so, like, it's just really weird, I don't know. And,
Do you start boots too with it?
I have been, yeah. I don't really know how it's gonna be, but... Yeah, but boots too, like, you don't need health pots either with it, or mana pots rather. Like, you don't need, like, I just go on boots 2 and 2 health pots, and then by the time you're low, depending on you play the lane, you can just back and finish your full boots, and then that's before the first purple spawn too. So if they like mess up their waves or something, you can just invade them because you're so strong.
I do think that there's a world once teams start scrimming in earnest and really working on how to break the map at a competitive level. The fact that Benevolence gives extra XP to nearby allies is going to be a big deal. And I think that there is a chance, you can tell me if you disagree, but I think there's a chance that there's going to be some meta starts that come about that are only enabled by something like Benevolence, just generating XP out of literal nowhere for your ADC. Could you see something like that becoming the case whenever it's time for actual competitive play?
Maybe, but at the same time, like, what you would have to hit like a level 5 power spike right before something like spawn, and they would have to be not level 5, right? So it's kind of like a weird timing because it's not like you can do anything with it early game in the first like minute or so because Invader's Curse, like there's nothing really on the map. Everyone's clearing their whole jungle basically by the time 30 seconds rolls around. And so you'd have to hit some weird timing, but then on the other hand, wouldn't you just want to draft more pressure and just be stronger? Like, if that was kind of the case, wouldn't you just want to maybe try and go for a play earlier, draft more pressure, maybe get a kill, have like a mannequin cheese or like a war flag for sustain so you guys can run them over instead, maybe? Because the way Benevolence is right now doesn't really give you any strength in lane, it just gives your ADC more experience.
Yeah,
and
usually you have HP 5 over Sentinel's gift. That's the one thing it doesn't have is that you have actual HP 5.
Yeah, but I don't think it matters too much because I would just, like, if I was that concerned about it, like, by the time you're looking for a play, you probably would have backed and you could just buy a health pot or something if you really wanted to be strong for the fight.
Yeah.
Or, like, a multi-pot or something. I don't know, it just feels like there's just different options you would still maybe even think about going. And then on top of that, too, it still depends on how the pressure of the map is going, too, just because maybe you're, like, the jungler comes over or something, right?
Yeah, I think Benevolence... I still think there's a chance that you could probably make something work, but it would have to be very coordinated and very specific, and I wouldn't recommend doing it in ranked, for sure. Basically, no matter what.
Agreed, yeah.
How about Compassion, the upgrade that no one talks about for Benevolence? The 300 health, 30 HP 5, 15 MP 5, and I think it's got some changes at this point. I think it got some magical protection, if I remember correctly. But damage taken by nearby allies is reduced by 15% up to a maximum of 100 damage, and the reduced damage is redirected to you as magical damage. Is that an interesting thing that you could see yourself buying if Benevolence wasn't strictly worse than Sentinels?
So it just reduces the damage you take by 15%. They take by 15%, redirects that to you.
Correct. Yeah. So it gets reduced by 15%, and then it runs through your mitigations as well.
Because I thought it might just I kind of thought it worked differently. Like I was thinking, like if someone did hit you for like up to 150 damage, just come to you. Like I was thinking, if someone picked Anubis, you could just buy it and they just wouldn't ever be able to carry or something. I don't know. It still seems kind of trash to me, though. To be honest, like I shouldn't say trash. Like it seems fine, but I don't know. Like when I think about the amount of damage that's going out, it comes in bursts, right? Like if a Scylla crushes your carry and you're taking away 150 damage, it's not really changing the fight or anything, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I don't really feel that being super impactful. I'll have to try it out maybe, but I kind of just feel like Sentinels embrace the extra protections the whole time. Could just be more valuable than 15% damage mitigation. Right? Like if a soul laner doesn't have much pen, they run at your guy and you're giving them like 50 protections or whatever, or like maybe even 40. Like that's pretty comparable in my opinion.
Sure.
And when you're alone, it makes you so tanky too. Like Sentinels is just the best individual defense item in the game anyways, pretty well.
Yeah, Barry, I mean, I feel like as a backliner, I'm kind of down to have 15% of the Osiris who's chopping me down in the backlines auto attacks, redirected away from me. Feel like that would make a pretty big difference, but I think Neil's probably right. I mean, that Sentinels embrace prots might just be worth more, but I'm not really a math guy, so I'm not sure. Have you played with both of these at all? Have you got any feelings?
Join Ignition Casino, your go-to destination for the best online poker, table games, progressive slots, and much more. Sign up with the promo code Ignition777 and deposit using Bitcoin to get 25 free spins on 777 Deluxe.
I haven't seen Benevolence in any of my games, and then Sentinels is in I'd say 60 to 70% of my games, and the rest are Warflag. But Sentinels just seems by far the best, and I don't know. Benevolence would have to get changed to where people are already in that tree looking for something late game over the Sentinel tree, I think. Because right now, in my opinion, especially for competitive, I think Sentinels is just better unless you're playing for a 2 or 4 minute purple with Warflag. There's no reason to not already be in that tree. And right. I think stat-wise, I think there would have to be a lot of dots coming your way, like an Erlong with, I don't know, a dot build or something, or another dot build, because if it reduces if I get Humbot's Tude and there's a Crusher proc and a Heartseeker proc and 2 other procs, if it's taking off of all of those procs, maybe it's good.
I think it would.
But if it could, and maybe it's good, but it would depend on the actual team fight. And what's the range on Compassion?
It doesn't have it listed on these patch notes. Okay. I would imagine it's typical aura range.
It would need to be a pretty large range for me to, for me to want my support to buy that. I'm gonna have to be a pretty hefty range, because if it's a mediocre range, then you'd literally have to sit on me in fights, and I think having your support melee range of you is not great.
Yeah, it also is kind of worse though for the support the bigger the range is, because it's not just you, it's all allies. So if they're taking poke damage from anybody getting hit.
Yeah.
If you're slamming magical defense and it's a late game fight, dude, there was a guy in my game who had 300 of each prot, and he just built Solve, Heartward, Thieves, and then upgraded the Sentinels, and I was okay.
Yeah, they're not playing.
Yeah. So I was kind of thinking too, say you're a Sobek or something, just for the sake of argument, you pluck somebody, and you get sundered, and someone stacked on you, you're just getting railed by a ton of damage. You'd get melted instantly too. It seems like something you might build on Ganesh or Kepri maybe.
Yep.
But even then, I don't know, I kind of feel like that might even just be overkill and just still not even as good as a Sentinels, right? Because you do fall behind building Benevolence the way it is now. It just doesn't give you as much gold or as much sustain in the lane, really. So I feel like you still would just fall behind, and I would rather just maybe, in my eyes, I'd rather just be getting more gold, getting my items online faster, getting to level 17 faster as well, and being able to build my upgrade first, rather than just maybe saying, oh, when I'm level 17, this will be sick.
Right.
I feel like most games you don't really plan to go in and just be I'm gonna make sure when I hit level 17, I'm gonna be owning everybody, as a support especially. Maybe in other roles ADC or something, it might be more important to be thinking about your late game upgrade and how it works there. But for support, it's just about kind of keeping up and making sure you can hit power spikes.
Do you think it would be broken if instead of you as it reads now, anytime you would gain experience or gold from an enemy dying, you only take 90% and share 10% with nearby allies. Do you think it would be broken if instead you only take 95%, but you still share 10% with nearby allies, so you basically generate an extra 5% golden experience as long as you're sharing?
I think that'd be a cool change. I think that's kind of fine, to be honest. Like, it just depends how the game's going. But, like, I could see that being a good item with a bit of incentive and a bit of, like, planning around what you're going to do, right? Because if you want to group up and fight early and kind of snowball that way, that could be interesting. It might make snowballing a bit strong, but then again, like Bear was saying, if you're trying to snowball, maybe you just go Warflag anyways.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's definitely an interesting idea. I think that's, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing either, right? Just to, like, try and give a bit of incentive that way. I think the way I would probably change it would just be increasing, like, the gold per 5 and the XP per 5, because then it would be cool, because it's kind of counterintuitive, but you'd be more satisfied being in the jungle roaming between. You'd still be benefiting rather than having to soak every wave like you kind of want to with Sentinels.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that could be an interesting distinction, but it's kind of weird too, because you're not really splitting the XP and giving more XP to somebody, but kind of just a thought. I think that would be probably a better way to change it to make it more appealing, would just be increase the passive on it.
Interesting. Animosity is the other one. Everyone talks about this in terms of not getting a starter item, playing things like Erlong or Alquang, things like that. As for support, is there any world where you think, Ymir, you're getting in there, you guys are kind of owning your level 17 really early? I can just go Animosity and one-shot their backline? Like, could probably work, right?
I probably wouldn't even, like, because the problem is it's magical damage. It's percent magical damage, and all the Guardians just attack so slow. So it's counterintuitive, because the only person you could build magical pen on, obviously, is magical characters. So, like, for Ymir, you'd want to get, like, penetration of some sort, so when you hit them with your Animosity, does reasonable damage. Because, like, if you're an Erlang or something, someone that has good attack speed can fit in their build in support, you're hitting this backliner who's next to their Sentinels, Embrace Thebes, whatever character, and your magical damage is like nothing, right?
Right.
So it's kind of weird, counterintuitive, kind of weird thing. And I don't even know, like, on a Guardian, like, how much are you really slapping people? Like, I don't know. It just doesn't really seem.
With
kind of seems gimmicky
bro?
to me.
I think you're kind of slamming.
You're attacking so slow. Like, I just feel like in competitive, it wouldn't work.
Coward.
That would be cool. That would be cool. I just feel like in competitive, though, you never really, as a sport, like, autoing people. Like, hardly ever, to be honest.
I was gonna say, like, you're throwing up your Ymir wall, and that's kind of it.
Yeah, like, I don't know. It seems like it'd be good in ranked when you can just go find someone on their own and just, like, solo them. Like, I love doing that.
Yeah, that sounds
But,
good.
like, in competitive, that's just never gonna happen, right? Like...
Wait, Neil, this can make Hachiman support go to the next level.
Well, you have no idea how much theory crafting I've been doing on that. I'm not even kidding.
Whew. Dude,
I was thinking about that so hard and so long, but apparently Hachi's ult has been just gutted, and I haven't even dared to touch him since the change. I just can't do it.
Unlucky. Hate to see it. All right, let's talk Warflag. This is the most aggressive option here for supports. 700 gold, either 10 physical power or 20 magical power, 100 health, and 10 MP5. Being in range of a minion or jungle camp death without dealing the killing blow, restores 6 health and 6 mana to all allies within 55 units, which is auto attack range, and also provides allies with a stacking self buff of 1% movement speed and 2% attack speed. Those stacks last 8 seconds and can stack up to 10 times. Is this good enough to be the aggressive option, Neil, or do you think it's still not quite good enough?
I think the way it is right now, it's hard to say, because in scrims, like, it could change a lot of things. Like, who knows if that difference is going to be so impactful that you're just going to have to get it or not. Like, are you going to get run over? I kind of feel like it's not going to be enough. Like, I feel like if I just pick something similar pressure to you, and you go Warflag and I go to Sentinels, and I maybe just buy, like, an extra potion or two at some point in the game, like, I could probably just have similar sustain. And as long as we just don't really mess up and put ourselves in a dangerous spot, we'd be fine just going relatively even. And then you're just kind of going to be at a disadvantage, because same thing, you're just going to be so far behind in gold the whole game. You'll be hitting your curves later. So I kind of think it's not quite there. And then on top of that too, like, just when you look at the upgrades too, like, down the line when you hit level 17, Spartan Flag seems interesting, but doesn't seem like super practical. Like, I've tried it a couple times, and it just feels like sometimes you just drop it randomly, like, not really when you want to. whereas the Sentinel's Embraces is always getting you value no matter what. Like I said, it's just giving you and your teammates so many protections. It's keeping your backline alive so much longer. I just feel like the 10% damage increase isn't like nearly as good as the offsetting aura, like I said before. Like for like a solo laner on your carry, especially when Thorns is in the game. Like Sentinel's Embrace also, yeah, on a side note, just counters Thorns completely. Like for solo laners who are warriors, like you just can't buy it, right? So if you don't have a Sentinel's Embrace, all of a sudden Thorns is something that can be back in the mix, right? So there's just a lot of benefits I see to Sentinel's Embrace. The protections maybe outweighing the 10% damage increase, and I just don't think that you could, the way it is right now, you could necessarily snowball it so out of control by getting a War Flag over Sentinels that it would offset the gold differential that the sports are going to be seeing.
Yeah, War Flag seems like it's better, really early, level 1 through 3.
Yeah.
You're going to get way more value out of it because it actually has power and has sustain for both you and your lane partner. And then at level 17, I think both of these upgrades are really good because they provide a ton of health, 300 health each. War Banner can give 20% movement speed and 40% attack speed to your team if you max out those stacks, which is an obscene. Get you add a Shoguns and a War Banner, you're just giving like an absurd amount of attack speed.
That is true.
To your team, and then they've got a Hunter's Cowl or a Leader's Cowl or whatever one it is that gives your team attack speed as an aura. Like you are owning on Phoenixes.
That's a good point.
But it's that middle ground, like 8 to 16, that I feel like War Flag really falls off. But I think that's kind of like cool in a way, right?
Yeah, I agree. I've always had problems with items like that, kind of like Emperor's Armor, because like it is really good in those situations for sure. Like giving somebody, your whole team, 40% attack speed, you have a Fire and a Phoenix, that thing is just going to be gone. The 20% move speed is insane for your team. You push a wave, then you run in. Like no one can get hit. You're dodging so many abilities. You're killing everything so fast. But games like, at least in the competitive scene, should just be one in the jungle around fires more so, right? Like it's that pivotal fight around the Fire Giant. Who's going to win the team fight? Who gets the Fire Giant? And the War Flag, whatever it's called, like that, the War Banner doesn't do anything for you there.
Right.
Same thing with like Emperor's Armor. Like I think that item, like I personally really don't like it because it's just a useless item in the jungle. It doesn't do anything. It's either saying, okay, we're winning the game, we're just gonna go push all the towers, in which case you probably don't need it anyways, or we're losing the game, we're not gonna contest any Fire Giant, in which case you're kind of on the back foot anyways.
Yeah.
And, like you'd rather have like a Sov or something like that instead. So those items, like, I'm gonna have to try it for sure. But I still I don't really like it because it doesn't help your jungle fight at all for the most part. It just seems kind of like if you're winning, if you're in a position with Fire Giant sieging and you have a decent team comp and you play it right, you should be able to get something anyways. You don't need that overkill like we just win the game once we get Fire. Because the Fire Giant to me is kind of like the bigger objective. Can we win that jungle fight to give ourselves that advantage to win the game?
Sure. And if you're still at the Phoenix, if you're on, hey, we just got Fire Giant, I hit level 17, War Banner is probably going to feel insane. But you can also Spartan Flag's better for those jungle fights, right? Where you just get the little flag that gives you increased power in that radius. So I'm excited. I hope the War Flag is good enough to compete. I would, Sentinel seems like by far the best option, but there's a lot of time between now and the beginning of the season for changes to come in and potentially be made. You mentioned going Thebes Sov a lot. What is your typical build path on your run-of-the-mill Guardian right now for people who are trying to climb the ranked streets and support?
I've kind of been like, in ranked I build a lot more selfishly just because like I'm usually playing a lot of weird characters, to be honest. Like I've tried Tsukiyomi support, like Guan Yu support, stuff like that.
Well, what's the report?
Sorry?
What's the report on Tsukiyomi support?
It's fine, but you have a lot of really bad matchups because any single route in the game is going to absolutely put you in the dirt. You're not tanky for a long time because I go power boots, which is sick. So if you die once in the early game, you are kind of screwed. And if they pick a slew of different characters, you can get owned. But it is really fun. You do a lot of damage and you get in there, which is pretty important.
Okay.
Wow.
All right.
So it's got a lot of negatives, a few pros.
Yeah,
a little bit more
BaRRa,
testing.
when you're thinking about different, ADCs you're going to be playing, who do you think's pairing up with that Tsukiyomi support real well? What cheese to the Tsukiyomi support wine are you having for dinner?
probably a nice little Arachne ADC.
Oh.
So we can both
Zero
get
range.
in there at the same time. I mean, we're not going to be able to siege a tower. We're not going to be able to siege a Phoenix, but we
That's
can
not true.
demolish...
What do you mean? He can hit the
I
Phoenixes
have
for you.
ranged autos too,
Yeah.
man.
But what happens when someone gets between you and...
Then you kill him. He's taking damage. He's dying.
Oh, okay.
He had to have run over the caltrops to get there, BaRRA.
Exactly.
True.
And then you know he's
Definitely
taking the
that.
white auto with the 45 true damage right to his dome.
Yep.
Wow. That's what I want. Okay.
Follow
I
up
wanna
on
ask
that,
you,
maybe?
real quick, do you think Eye of the Jungle or anything like that has a place in support for like a double jungle meta? I know you can't invade early, but do you think there's a potential to like... I mean, everyone hates junglers, so is there a potential to chase around the jungler, leech their farm, harass them after like the first minute?
AKA Neil's favorite metas of all time.
That is true. Yeah, I think the map is so big, it's really hard to get support when you need it. So like if there's a support that can meet the enemy jungle at his backs, and like the waves are meeting the other supports in dual lane, like who's gonna go help that guy? Like the mid laner maybe. But if you're getting out pressured in mid and the support's there, like you're never gonna have help, right? So I think there is potential, but it's kind of like you said. I just think it's a bit later in the game. Like I don't think as a support you're really like stealing it is ideal, but even slowing down the jungle is just as important. If you can. I don't know though. I feel like you'd still maybe just want like a war flag. Is it necessary for you to get like an Eye of the Jungle to clear the camp anyways? Because if the other jungler's around, he's just gonna own you if you try and use your abilities on it. And if he's not there, you're gonna get it anyways. So you have like a war flag or something. So
True, yeah.
I think there is some potential, like I said, because the map is so big. But the Invader's Curse makes it a bit weird, and I think you might be better off maybe like trying to gank and whatnot. Because what farm would you take? Like usually you're taking backs or something, right? But the backs, the duo side backs are so to the way. Those are kind of hard to take, and the solo
Those feel
side
terrible
backs,
to go to from duo, by the way.
100%. There's just no way. You can only do them on a base.
Good, those are mine.
And the solo side backs are like they're not super accessible either, to be honest. Like it's not very easy to invade people because the map is so big. You're kind of out of position, right? Because I feel like if I'm doing his backs and like the other supports in duo lane, my ADC has to play so scared, right? So I'm doing his backs. If I don't know where he is, there's probably support around me, like a jungler or mid. And then in duo lane, this guy's on an island, right? Like lots of times, that's how I felt this season. Is like if I go to solo lane to gank solo lane, my ADC just dies, and there's nothing you can do about it. There's no counter gank. Or if I'm in duo lane trying to
There's
gank
nothing
someone,
the
and they go to
ADC can
solo
do about
lane.
it either. Like when other people are there, you know.
It's true. It's true. It just feels like everyone's kind of on an island, like in the side lanes this season, and like you just can't be everywhere at once anymore.
Oh no, can't be everywhere at once, and just winning all my
Guess you have to-
trades.
But that means no one else can be everywhere at once, which is good for me.
That is good for you. Okay, what builds would you recommend for our normal Guardian players out there? You know, the honest, hard-working folk who are trying to lock in Athena and win some games.
Oh no.
I haven't been buying much Sov. Like, I'll still do if there's 4 Fizz, but just assuming there's like a 3 Fizz, 2 Magic kind of split. On most Guardians, I've just been going Sentinels into tank boots. And then depending on the character, you can go Binding or you can rush your Thieves. And then after that, I've been going just Pridwin usually. And then I've actually been building damage in my last 2 slots if I can fit it. Like a Magi sometimes, but I just find if you have Sentinels, Thieves, and Pridwin, you're already instantly just tanky enough, like once you get those all online. And if you go Thieves into Pridwin, it gives you kind of it's kind of hitting all the bases for you individually. You have a lot of health from your Thieves, a lot of protections from your Thieves. You have HP 5 in there as well, which is nice. And then you have the 20% CDR and the other additive protections from your Pridwin, and the tankiness from your ult. So those 2 items back to back have been feeling really good. It can be a little bit slow though, for sure, because stacking Thieves first isn't as good power spike wise for like building a Sov or something like that. But I've always been a player, I think, who's gotten a lot of utility items. I don't like being like 325 of each protection, like 4,000 HP. That's never really been my style. I just think that that's a bit redundant. So I usually I've been trying a lot of just Thieves, Pridwin. You can maybe throw a Wingblade in there or something, and then just get your Sentinels and Brace online, and you're kind of like above 200 of each protection. Usually late game maybe around 3,000 HP still, and then you have these other items you can dabble with. So it could be like a Spear of the Magus. On some characters, I've been building Staff of Mirrodin because the 10% pen is really impactful now with the Sentinels Embrace, and it gives you the extra 10% cooldown. So between Pridwin and Mirrodin, with the 500 pot, that's 40% cooldown, which is nice. And then obviously having more abilities in sports always really nice. Like I've been doing on Ares, 6 chains is nothing to scoff at. Ymir,
Broken.
like having extra wall or freeze is really really impactful. So that's kind of what I've been doing. I've just been going like Thebes, Pridwin, and on a character like Fafnir or something, I've been going Binding before the Thebes if you're stunned, like your CC feels really good, or like a Cthulhu or something.
Yeah, someone in chat asked thoughts on the new blade items in support. Basically, the winged blade, witch blade, getting some protections. Do you think that those are? I mean, those are just in general very situational items. But do you think that they have to be, oh my god, they've got Nemesis is the only way they kill me, so winged blade is just super good here? Or if I just need a little bit of extra magical protection, or something like winged blade is gonna fit in a lot of comps.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of both. Like Wingblade is it's just nice. I think now, like if you're against like a Scylla or something, you're like, oh, Wingblade is kind of nice here because like if I'm dancing on the edge of a crush, the extra move speed helps you run out of it or something like that, or maybe the CCR is nice, or maybe they have like an on her as well, and the extra magical procs are not just a nice quality of life thing. I think that is kind of still a situational item, but it just never really feels bad to build anymore. Like just the fact that it has protections on it now with like a bunch of HP, it just you can't really go wrong with it, to be honest. So I think it's definitely it's going to be seen way more this year, but I don't necessarily know if that's a good thing that they just like gave movement speed items that like should be situational protections to make them more of like a catch-all item. I kind of liked where they were at before, where it's just like where you have to make kind of a sacrifice to build them. There has to be a big enough pro, like you said, against Nemesis. If you're Ymir, getting Wingblade is like so nice. But now that it has the extra magical protections on it, kind of feels like it's not so much an option as it might be like a necessity now, which is weird. But I think those blades can be really really good with like the build I was talking about too. If you want to be a bit tankier, you could just go like a Thebes Pridwin or like Thebes Wingblade Pridwin, and you're gonna feel really good, or like Witchblade as well.
Yeah. Neil, here's where your trial begins. We've buttered you up. We've sat you here. We've gotten you nice and comfortable. Admit to me right now, the tank boots are the best item in the game.
They are. Like it's like when you build tank boots, when you finish them, it is like the best protection power spike you can get in the entire game for like the time in the game. I think they're just like, I thought they were broken. I was like building them a lot right before they buffed them and just threw on more HP or something like that. And I was like, these things aren't okay. Like when you build them and you hit someone with it, it's just pretty evident just by feeling it out that this person has just become unkillable out of nowhere. Like as soon as you get fighting at tank boots, you actually feel like you're unkillable. I think it's just kind of ridiculous. I think it just really limits the ways you can play the game. Like if I see an enemy in your mirror finishes tank boots, I'm like, that guy isn't really a good option anymore. So you're gonna have to commit so much into them. If anyone else is around, it can just go south, right? You could trade like 1-for-1. I just think that they're just too strong. They just give you too many protections. They give you a ton of HP. Like they're cheap as well. I don't know. It just kind of, to me, kind of bottlenecks your options because they're just, you can't go wrong building them ever. And like I said, it just lets you play like really loose and really just annoying. And I think it's kind of like reduces the skill gap, I guess, because all of a sudden positioning becomes a little less important as well. I just think they're kind of bogus. I think they should be nerfed personally.
Hear that, chat? Everyone out there who thinks that it's a burst meta right now and that tanks aren't tanky enough.
Well, I mean, let's not take
nerf the boots
and straw man be here.
Nerf
burst meta.
Nerf the boots. You heard it here first. That's what we should be doing.
Maybe take 60 power off Rod.
No. Anyways, Neil, if let's say that our local support friends who are playing support, trying to climb up the ranked leaderboards here early, let's say they don't have the they're not ready to pull out the Hachiman and the Tsukiyomi support. Okay.
Shameful.
What more traditional supports would you recommend for our friends out there trying to climb?
Well, dude, if you're playing ranked, you're trying to climb, just play pressure. It's just the easiest way to win. It's not even close. Like, it's I hate it so much because I just want to play all this janky stuff, and I'm just getting ran down every game because people are just locking in like Ymir every game. They're locking in like Hercules every game. They're locking in like Sobek every game, and these characters are just like really good at all parts of the game. It feels like. And so if you're trying to climb, I would just lock in characters like that, where you just have a strong impact, and you can play pretty individually, and you can have like a pretty large impact as well. So I think those characters are strong. I felt like Fafnir actually hasn't been that bad, but he's always a lot better in ranked, in my opinion, than competitive because you don't get run at as much. Like, people are less coordinated, but just the way the itemization has gone with him, you can build super squishy and do a ton of damage on him, which has been really fun. So, I would just say, like, the Emirs, the Hercs, the Sobex look really good right now. You see them a lot, and I think that those characters do perform really well into a lot of other characters in the meta. And you're just going to have pressure, and when you have pressure, when you're trying to climb in ranked or whatever, you're always going to be in the driver's seat. It's kind of on you to lose the game if you're ahead, so that's always kind of the spot you want to be in ranked.
BaRRa, for you, what supports are you liking seeing in your duo lane whenever you're locking in Scotty with Eye of the Jungle for some reason?
Okay, I had to test it, and the test worked. So
Good to hear.
It worked. It was fun.
Oh.
Okay, I don't know if it was the best thing to build,
It wasn't.
but
I can tell you.
okay. All right, mid later. You have one build. You think you can talk to other people?
Oh,
talk
looks
to
like
other
another
roles?
Conduit Gem game here. I think I'll try
Wow.
Conduit Gem this game. Taking a look at their draft, I'm looking at Conduit Gem this time around. Just based
You
on
get a
what I'm
war
seeing.
And then you just let the minions kill each other.
Oh.
For me?
No, for mid laners. Like, you just never
Okay.
actually lasted a single minion.
I've taken
That
that
seems
in.
good.
I've thought about it.
Your jungler comes and you two-man everything.
I think I'm going to buy Conduit Gem. Okay, anyways.
Fair enough.
BaRRa, what do you
tried.
like seeing alongside you in the duo lane right now?
Okay, I like the gods that Neil listed, kind of any like pluck engage gods or just Ymir, because Ymir is still broken. And then personally, Xing Tian. I have loved Xing Tian this season. He feels so strong. I feel like it, because you can kind of just dodge everything, and then you can also burn beads, and then your one is like one of the most broken abilities in the game. And you kind of just can't die on that character, so I'm pretty sure he is actually OP.
Is there something that's more unkillable than Xing Tian who just finished Tank Boots? Because I don't think I've...
Oh,
No.
That
that's
guy,
so annoying.
Xing Tian who's just finished Tank Boots, is the immortal conundrum we were just talking about, that he needs
It's
to be
so
released
stupid.
from his mortal shell. Like, it is impossible to kill that god after he finishes tanks.
And if your boy is getting totems, you literally have permanent HP 5 the whole lane, and you're just like, this is OP.
100%, yeah. I don't know. That character, it's kind of like the Fafnir, I think. It's just going to be good, right? Because Xing Tian, too, like, late game, does a ton of damage.
Oh.
And you just have so much innate survivability, kind of like Fafnir, where you can get away building less protections, less HP, and you're building more damage. So, like, if you just went, like, Binding, Thebes, Pridwin, and then went, like, you could go anything. You could go Deso, you could go, Mirrodin is actually super, super good on Xing Tian. Like, all your buttons are always good.
I was going to say, yeah, dude, Mirrodin Xing Tian would be
Yeah.
OP.
Yeah,
like,
Chronos Pendant too. Like you can get whatever you want. You get a Python. Like, and literally, you can get anything in like your last 2 slots, and you're just gonna slam people. It's insane. It's actually kind of crazy. Yeah.
that sounds
We
kind
have
of
this-
fun.
If you have the Sentinels upgrade, and they have an auto-attack jungler, and you won that jungler while he's diving, bruh,
Can't beats that.
OP. Exactly.
It's true. Yeah, it is. It is true.
Dude,
Yeah.
I kind of feel like going to run it down with some Xing Tian with tank boots.
It's actually so fun, man. I've had more fun playing those Xing Tian support games than I have ADC. You literally can't die, and you outdamage everyone in the game.
I'm going to do that. I'm going to cue that
That's
up
my
tonight.
Cthulhu support. You just go
What?
Binding, Thebes, and then full damage.
What? Why would
You
you,
heard him.
go? Oh,
Because you just kill everybody. If you get a good matchup, you literally just kill everybody.
There's-
There's nothing the enemy can do.
there's no way Cthulhu's
List the good
You just-
matchups here for
No, it's
for
actually
Cthulhu
so
support.
sick in ranked. It's just actually so. I actually don't lose like character in ranked. It's so free.
What are you seeing on the other side that you're like instantly Cthulhu support? What are
If
you
this
like?
guy's locked into Persephone, I'm just gonna run you down. Like, you can't get away from me. I'm running you down. If you're locked in an Afro, you don't have enough damage to kill me. I'm running you down. If you're just locking in something where you can't run from me, I'm just gonna slam you. I go Sentinels, Tank Boots, Binding, Thebes, and then you just go like Deso, Magus, and then like a pen item, and you literally have 3 damage items, and you just slam everybody into the grave.
Don't you just die to their ADC?
You just go blink and you get upgrade horrific, and you just horrific them.
All right.
And you've just learned how to
And
become
you're
a
like, you're
master
assuming
support
that
player.
someone on your team is doing something. Like, it's a team game. Like, if everybody's slamming you, of course they're gonna die. But somebody's doing something to stop that, man.
Uh huh.
maybe you've typed to somebody, hey, just hit this guy, and they do it for you. I don't know. I'm
Wow. That's
I'm
the
not
real
a scientist. All I'm just saying is it's broken. Give it a try, and you're gonna own.
There you go.
It's my guarantee.
I'll
It's
try
got
it.
my seal of approval.
Neilmah, 2-time seal of approval right there for the Cthulhu support. So
No,
make sure you
0
guys are
time.
trying that. All right, guys. Right here at the end of the episode, as per usual, it's time for our random question of the week. Still yet to be sponsored. We still got to get out the prediction guys on that one.
I'll sponsor it.
Will you?
Yes.
All right, we'll put
But
you
in-
in touch with Aaron.
What? Okay.
Yeah,
What's the name
I'm
you guys
not
can
gonna
talk
really
numbers.
be giving you much,
Well,
Oh.
but I will be sponsoring it.
okay. Well, we'll talk about it. I'm sure we could
Okay.
we could work something
We
out
can
in that
bring it up next
department.
week.
Okay.
Neil, sponsor question.
Super Bowl just happened here in America. A very boring game, unfortunately, because that's just the way it is sometimes. But it was better than the Rams Super Bowl a couple of years ago, which was the worst football game I've ever watched in my whole life. More importantly than the game itself, of course, is the snacking around the Super Bowl. Neil, have you ever even attended a Super Bowl party before in your entire life?
Of course.
Yeah?
Me and my friends every year, but this year I always have a Super Bowl party and we
Huge.
watch.
Okay, great. So you can participate. What is key for for those of you who don't care about American football? We're talking World Cup parties, something along those lines. For big sports get-togethers where snacks are key, what do you need there in order for it to be successful? Neil, we can kick it off with you because I've got a feeling that BaRRA is going to say something stupid.
What?
Well, he's got a couple minutes to think about it so he doesn't make an absolute fool of himself.
Right.
Cheese dip.
That's fine.
Good start.
Thank you.
That's
That's fine.
respectable, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, for me, like, wings are always great. Like, you need the appetizers, obviously. You need, like, the appetizers and the main course.
Yep.
And for appetizers, like, you always gotta have nachos. That's just, like, come on. Like, nachos, have some salsa, maybe some guac, maybe some sour cream. 7-layer dip is a huge bonus. That stuff bangs.
Mm-hmm.
Wings, like, always need to have wings at a Super Bowl party. And then anything after that, like, for appetizers, is kind of just a bonus to me, honestly. Like, usually I'm just doing nachos, wing, dip kind of thing. And that's usually good for me. And then for main course, like, usually we do pizza. Like, I could see if someone wanted to do, like, more of a homemade thing, like chilies would be good too. But I've always just kind of been pizza, wing, nachos kind of guy, personally.
I think that's a smart call. I think you're in the right ballpark. All right, BaRRA, you got it off on the right foot. Cheese dip, great start. Don't mess it up now.
You have to have more than one? I thought it was favorite snack.
Well, yeah, did you hear the great answer that Neil gave? That he broke
Yeah,
it down?
mine's cheese dip.
That's it. Like,
What type of
goes-
cheese
what
dip,
do
John?
you dip it? What do you
Need.
dip with the cheese dip?
Yeah, what?
My fingers.
Well, now you're trolling, and you've ruined the
You're
sanctity of
palming
this
the
question.
dip? You're palming the dip in a party
Yeah.
scenario?
Two
I'm just
fingers.
imagining John in his living room, like, those concrete things, like, you put your hands in.
Yeah.
He's just got two of those, he's double fisted them, slamming
Just-
his hands into
Just
them.
getting him in there. All right, man.
What?
What do you mean, what? You cannot what me after we
Bro,
asked
you
what.
asked for my favorite snack. It's cheese dip.
You would
With
never. All right, next year, whenever we
Dip
can actually have a
implies
Super
the
Bowl party.
existence of something to dip with.
What else would you dip in it besides chips?
What kind of
Okay,
chips, John?
you could use vegetables, you could use, like, crackers, I don't know.
Yes.
You could use,
Pita,
like, carbs, like some sort of bread or
bread.
something, I don't know.
Okay, since you guys are trolling, I'll just say, like, some crackers. Since you're trolling, I'll troll. I'll say crackers.
That's, like, not ideal, but it's not, like, it's not ideal. I'm just gonna say that.
I'm gonna hit you right now with the best dipping chip on the market. It's multigrain scoop Tostitos. That's what you should be going in with.
No,
Those
scoops
things
are not great.
No, those things.
Why do you like the
are
multigrain?
best.
No.
There's something about them, Neil. They are addicting. I would eat multigrain Tostitos by themselves. Tostitos
You
sponsor
can't,
us, by
like,
the way.
describe why the multigrain over the... normal
They're
kind, or-
salty enough. They're still salty. That's a key part of what I want to be dipping. I need my dipping chip to have a lot of salt.
Yeah, but
and
scoops are
they're
just bad, 'cause
structurally
you can't
sound.
bite them.
You can bite them because they aren't as like curled in. They're a little bit more flat than the initial run through of scoops. And the multigrain scoops, I hate wheat bread. I'm not getting like the healthy option at Publix or anything like that. I'm not doing it. I'm telling you that there's something about the multigrain scoops. They're built different. I'm not a multigrain kind of guy.
incorrectly.
You've got to try them before you can knock them. I'm putting my
Alright.
reputation on the line with multigrain scoops here,
Scoops are
fellas.
just bad.
I have never, everyone I've served multigrain scoops to have gone, yo, these chips are dope. And I'm like, I know. Try him out.
See,
I'm
the
telling
problem
you.
is there's like an imbalance of power between you and your friends. You have like your own podcast, you're a hot shot, and they're afraid if they say the multigrain chips are bad, that it'll ruin their careers and their livelihood.
Smart enough.
And that's just not okay. But, that being said, I got nothing else.
No,
That's it.
I think that's good.
a terrible
That's
take
it.
from Aggro.
I'm right and you're wrong.
Why are the scoops bad, Barra? Why do you not like scoops?
Because biting them, you just feel idiotic.
Maybe you do, because you're used to sucking on your
Are you
fingers.
sticking the
after
whole
you've
thing in your
palmed
mouth?
the dip? Rip to Neil's mouth stitches.
There's
Oh,
nothing wrong
no.
with licking some cheese dip off your fingers
Oh,
late
no.
night, bro.
Yeah.
If it's midnight, you know, I'm at the computer, I got the cheese dip in
But
front
this
of me,
isn't this isn't like the context. The context here is the Super Bowl, surrounded by friends, family, loved ones, people who respect you and who you respect.
Yeah, we're all
And then you're
getting our fingers
coming
And
through
he's
like a toddler.
He's
No,
wrist
no, 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 no.
He's wrist deep in the cheese dip before the freaking kickoff.
Everyone that comes to the Super Bowl party at bears with their own cheese dip, like a tub. It's huge, and there's no.
Dude, the Salter household. I hope you guys wash your hands, man. That's all I gotta say. Because the way
that's extra flavor.
yeah,
I will not be debating that. That is extra flavor.
that's a fact. Yeah. All right. That's enough of that. Clearly, Monday podcasts are a danger to society, as we've learned. So, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. If you're watching on BaRRa's YouTube,
Hello.
subscribe and like and all that kind of stuff.
Twitch.tv/aggro.
Twitch.tv/aggro is
my
where all the
YouTube?
good content is. Neil, you don't use a YouTube, but wait, do you actually?
Oh, this is bad.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't.
Okay, good.
Neil doesn't upload
Speak
YouTube
for
videos,
me.
but he does stream on Twitch. Twitch.tv. It's Neilmah, right? It's Neilmah. Your Twitter is still Neilmah. though. All right.
Can't always get everything you want.
Twitch.tv/Neilmah. Neilmah. That's the place to go for that. And make sure you're giving us a good rating here on the Prediction Network and checking out all of their other great podcasts. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next week as we go into Jungle, the most broken role in Season 8, because it's another year of Jungle, and that's all there is to it. BaRRa, you know what to do, and I mean this with no pressure whatsoever. Please say goodbye to our cherished audience.
Bye.
How'd you feel about that?
Good one.
Okay.
That was a solid one.
It was solid.
Thanks.
Cheese dip kind of got me effed up.
Getting your feels.